Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to Mojave Electric Cooperative for our 77th Annual Meeting. My name is Joe Anderson. I am the President of the Mojave Electric Board of Directors, and I want to thank you all for coming. If I could ask you to do me a favor at this time, could you please silence your cell phones and electronic devices so you don't disturb our neighbors during this meeting. At this time, I'd like to call the annual meeting to order, and I'm going to invite our legal counsel, John Curry, up here to determine if we have a quorum.
Good evening. I'm happy to announce that we do have a quorum this evening. So this is an official meeting of the members of Mojave Electric Cooperative.
Thank you, John. Okay, at this time, I'd like to invite Pastor Ralph to the podium to give an invocation.
Amen. Let's pray together. Lord Jesus, thank you for a beautiful day that you've given us. Thank you for a great community to live in. Thank you, Lord God, that you're blessing this community with so many different things. And MEC is one of those things, so God, we just appreciate it. Thank you, Lord God, that you give us sunshine, Lord, give us rain, and give us wind, Lord God, but you also give us energy. So thank you for them. We recognize you tonight as the creator of everything. So God, we just bow before you. Thank you. We ask that you bless MEC. Bless this meeting tonight, God, and all that they do. The workers, God, who work tirelessly, God, so many times during storms and things. Bless them, God, and we appreciate them as well. But God, lead us tonight, we pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Okay, at this time, I would like everyone to please stand for the presentation of colors and the Pledge of Allegiance led by the ROTC of Mojave High School, and remain standing for the national anthem. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You can now be seated. I'd like to thank the ROTC for that beautiful presentation. At this time, to all the veterans and active military, we have a simple yet heartfelt message. Thank you. Thank you for unwavering service in peacetime and in war. Here in this nation's world. Please stand and receive a warm recognition. Veterans, please stand. Thank you. I'd like to introduce the Board of Directors. First of all, again, I'm Joe Anderson. I am the President and a Director of District 3. Our officers are Deborah Johnson, Vice President. She's District 2. Tony Barbero, District 3. Our Secretary, Rich Templeman, Treasurer, District 1. John Nelson, Director of District 1. Kevin Nestrick, Director of District 2. Joe Solar, Director of District 2. Michael Bartell, Director of District 3. And the following board members were re-elected to be reseated. Joe Solar was by acclamation, elected to be reseated for District 2, and myself for District 3. And also, we have a new member, Tracy Weiss. Will you please stand? She was elected to District 1 Director position by a majority of vote at our election on the meeting Monday night for District 1. This time I'd like to introduce our Chief Executive Officer for MEC, who's been with us for 14 years, Tyler Carlson. And General Counsel, who you already seen up here, John Corey. I'd like to introduce our guests in the audience tonight, too. We have Dave Locke, who comes to us. He's the Chief Executive Officer for Grand Canyon State Electric Co-op Association. Patrick Ledger is the Chief Executive Officer for Arizona Generation Transmission Cooperative. Jack Murray, Senior Vice President and Regional Manager for Western Area Power Administration, that we know as WAPA. Russell Smolden, Chief Executive Officer for B3 Strategy, one of our consultants. We have Dan Alfonso, Bullhead City member, Bullhead City Council member. Way over there. And also Hildy Inges from the Mojave County Board of Supervisors. She's also a candidate for the Arizona State Senate. Have to bear with me, I got my papers out of order here. I also like to thank Arizona Generation Transmission Cooperatives as one of our power providers. We'd also like to recognize James Brzarski, Jay Strickling, and Gina Ellis for all their support over the years with all our events, photos, and videography. They set up all the sound and video equipment here tonight. Thank TWN Communications team for their partnership on the fiber project and sharing broadband materials with members prior to our meeting. Thank Ann White from the Western Governors University for materials at a booth prior to the meeting. Thank the sponsors of our annual meeting gifts, which was TWN, Arizona Generation Transmission Cooperative, the City of Bullhead City, Grand Canyon State Electric Co-op Association, Pool Curry Law, and EDP. And most of all, I'd like to thank you for your attendance and support this evening. At this time, I'm requesting that all the Mojave County Electric Cooperative employees please stand. If it wasn't for these people, we would not have all this set up. They make everything run so smoothly. Okay, at this time, we'll appoint a secretary for the meeting minutes. It will be our Secretary, Andrea Harless. And I need approval of the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda. It should have been those purple sheets that were handed to you when you walked in. So entertain a motion. Get a motion. Do I have a second? And a second. All in favor of approval of the agenda, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Opposed, no. Motion carries. At this time, I'll also entertain a motion and a second to waiver the reading of notice and proof of mailing. Okay, I got a motion and a second. All in favor to waiver the reading of notice and proof of mailing, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. We also have the approval of the 2022 annual membership meeting minutes. I'll entertain a motion and a second for the approval of the 2022 annual membership meeting draft notes to minutes. A motion to, do I have a motion? Okay, I have a motion. A motion to approve the 2022 annual membership meeting draft notes to minutes. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. This time I'd like John Corey, legal counsel, to come to the podium.
I'd like to entertain a motion and second to ratify the actions of the Board of Directors of Mojave Electric Cooperatives since the last annual meeting of members as being reasonably necessary for carrying on the business of the cooperative, including conducting the District 1, District 2, and District 3 meetings. Can I get a motion and a second, please? Motion? Second? Second? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, John. Okay, at this time we're going to invite Tyler Carlson, our Chief Executive Officer, to the podium, or wherever he wants to be, to address you.
All right. Am I hooked up? Yes, I am. Thank you. All right. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. I know some of you have some questions, and I appreciate I've been able to talk to a number of you before the meeting started. We will try to get you answers if we didn't have answers right this moment. Appreciate it. When this is all done, I'll be around if you have any individual questions that you'd like to pose to us. That would be great. We'll go ahead and get started. I think the program is only like 2 hours, so you know you might get a water or something if you want. All right, this is the MEC service territory, and I've got technology in my hands, so I got to be careful. We go from all the way into this particular area, which we call our east of Kingman, which is our eastern area, which goes from Wickiup, and actually we have services and facilities right to the edge of the Grand Canyon. And then most of it has about 8% of our meters, 8% of our population is in this large area. And then we have this area over here, which we are all in, all the way down to Golden Shores from Bullhead City, just north of the Northern Bridge, all the way down to Golden Shores, Copop. And that's about 92% of our folks are in that. Kind of want to go through, and I'm going to go through a number of things, including power supply and including what happened. Not so much what happened last year, but where are we at right now with our pole hardening and making sure our system is back together. We do have our system pretty much back together hopefully for not the next storm. There was a time in which we switched from coal generation to natural gas over this last year. There was some natural gas prices that were unusually high, and they also were high in the market. And I'll go over a little bit more of that as we go. You'll see this in this energy mix. As you can see over time, our energy mix has changed quite a bit over time, where a number of years ago we were primarily coal. You can see that we've moved down quite a bit. This last little uptick was trying to avoid and having coal, but trying to avoid the uptick in natural gas prices. If you look at our energy mix in 2022, you can see we're about 9% renewables, or the 9% of our utility scale solar, 6% hydro, which is about 15% renewables. We do have some long-term power purchases. That color right there is whatever color that is. That's I think that's coal, and then we have natural gas over here. And for those of you who haven't figured it out, I'm colorblind. So does anyone know what color shirt is this?
Green.
Is it green? No. What color shirt is this? Because I've been everyone's been saying it's a really nice color, but I don't know what color it is. I have a bunch of solid color shirts, and I just pull them off the rack. And I don't always know, but somebody I get quite a few compliments. So whatever color this is, I will buy more of this particular color. And if it's not green, that's par for the course for you, Dave Locke. You're always not truthful. I appreciate that. All right, so in our total costs, what we've experienced in this last year is an inflation rate of about 6%, a 4% increase in our controllable expenses. Most of that controllable expense issues have been goods and services, supplies, that type of thing. If anyone knows, you probably are well aware that everything has gone up in price. And we're not insulated from that as well. Supply chain issues have hit us very hard. We've had over the last year, 16 months, about a 30% energy generation costs have gone up. And it says natural gas, but natural gas is a piece of that. That's the fuel. But actually the power market as well has gone up. It's not just natural gas, it's the power market. So you have a power market issue. So if you don't want to burn natural gas and you don't have coal, you're actually into the market. And that market has also gone up quite a bit. Our rates have not increased. You know, I'll go through it. You may say, oh, I think that the rates have gone up. They really have not gone up, and I'll describe that to you. We always like to present this. This kind of gives you a view of where we were in 1946 and where we are in 2023. The same kilowatt hours, 300 kilowatt hours in 1947, as you see, was $19.55, and it's $25.02 today. The same kilowatt hours. There's nothing else that has had that low of an inflation rate or kept costs quite that low. Now we can quibble about whether or not the price of a new car is actually $48,000. I just saw a pickup it was listed in California, regular 3/4 ton pickup. I say regular, but it's a 3/4 ton quad cab was $180,000 for a pickup over in California. So we can all argue about it, but we use these types of numbers. Gallons of gas, that's about what it is, unless you live in or you're around in Texas. It's a lot lower. California, it's a lot higher, but this is Arizona. That's kind of what we're looking at. and there's a gallon of milk and a loaf of bread. So we've kept costs pretty low. This is our 2022 energy dollar. As you can see, margins are the thing that we deal with at the end of the year. And our lenders, they have requirements for us to have margins, meaning that's additional dollars after we've paid all of our expenses. And in order to get preferential interest rates, we have to meet certain margin requirements. This barely met our margin requirements this last year in 2022, but we did have a rate change that went into play here this April, and I'll describe that a little bit. But if you take a look at it, the power costs are 78%. The operating expenses, which is whatever you want to call it, overhead, that's the lineman, that's everything that we're doing to try to keep the system going. If I look at a United Way or somebody else, essentially they take in money and they give out money. Their overhead numbers are well above 14%, and you get a product out of this as well. You can see all those particular numbers. Our purchase power adjuster, which is what you may have seen on your bill that has changed. We used to have a credit for quite some time, and I'll go through that. I'll go through a little bit, but the volatile cost of both fuel, which could be coal, natural gas, or the purchase power market actually has a big impact on that. What the Corporation Commission in Arizona has required is that for those of us that are in this electric utility business, instead of having a rate change every year, we have what's called a fuel adjuster, or an energy bank, that we actually pass on those particular costs without a rate. This is not unique to Mojave Electric. This is pretty much everybody has this. In fact, the natural gas industry also has the same deal. And if you want to ask, I can get into the history. I don't want to go through that. I get into the history of how we got here. At one time, I think it was either 2 to 3 rate cases where APS had at one time trying to get through the commission within a year's time frame, and the ACC said we have to do something different than that. This is our purchase power adjuster, and this is what you've seen when you have seen that your bill has gone up, and your bill has gone up. However, this is our history of our purchase power adjuster. Since 2013, we've had a negative purchase power adjuster. We've been able to manage our power supply. We've been able to manage issues like our fuel costs. We've been able to do that in a way in which we've saved you money. And we've been passing that on to you in your bill, so that you had a refund credit. If you looked at your bill, it would be a negative. If you looked at the number of kilowatt hours times a negative, it would be a negative. You'd see that there. Well, because of this 37% increase over the last 12 to 16 months, that's gone away. We no longer have a negative, but we also don't have a positive, and we don't intend to change our rates at this particular time. So what does that mean? Well, if you take a look at the same usage, and we always do comparisons, and I'll go through other comparisons as well. We compare ourselves with each other. A lot of people call it benchmarking. We compare ourselves to other folks, and if you look across with the same usage, and this all uses the exact same usage for all of the other utilities we show here, we still have the lowest rates today, even though our fuel costs went up. Our rates are still the lowest. And I will say that Unisource has a rate increase going on. If you live in Havasu, the Havasu and Kingman folks are pretty adamant, pretty upset about this 14% increase that Unisource is going through. I know that APS is at the Corporation Commission right now for about a 12% rate increase, and I think that they've been on the stand for a good week or two, I believe. And most recently, SRP has indicated to their industrial customers about 11% increase. So these are things that are going on. What I'm really trying to show you is that if you're concerned about the cost of power, it's pretty much going up everywhere for every utility. This last 12 to 16 months has been pretty difficult on everybody. As my staff would say, if you put technology in my hands, I will mess it up. All right, I'm going to talk a little bit about last year's, you're aware of a little more than a year ago, we were just at the end of a major storm that took out about 84% of our membership. We had help from a couple of other sister co-ops, utilities. We were able to put it back up. We had the majority, probably out of that 84%, we probably had a good 95% or more up within the next couple of days. And then it took a little bit longer to find individual damage and bring it back up. So, you know, what happened? What happened was is that we've been in a line hardening program for a number of years. What the storm hit was the areas we hadn't gotten to yet. We've gotten a lot of that done here. This is kind of, we've got 24,000 poles across our 13,000 basically square mile of service territory. We inspect 2,000 poles annually. That's actually going to change as well, as you probably, if you went past Jared when you were walking in and he had his displays of all the drones, we're able to actually do a lot more with the drones that we can. If you've ever been out to see where our lines are, they're not really easy to get to in vehicles, so we actually have a very active drone program at this particular moment. And so we do actively involve. So if there's a thought of you have old and untested poles, we pretty much go through this process. About every 10 to 12 years, we've gone through every pole, and then we start back over again when it's done. And when you talk about old, it's you know, being old. I hate when somebody says it's old. You ought to be retired. We have a pole that still sits there and it tests out fine, and it's from 1946. The stamp is still on it from 1946. So age is not just the issue. We have a line hardening program that we've been going on for some time. About every third pole is changed out with either concrete or steel. You've probably seen some of that. If you drive by our airport substation next to Dot Foods, we have a whole bunch of steel poles sitting there. It's been an ongoing process. As a matter of fact, that the poles that we were using now, the majority of those poles were scheduled to be delivered 1 week after the outage. So we had it on order. We were already ready. This is pretty much a planned process. So, and as you can see here, 144 of the 305 planned poles have been completed. We will, over the next few years, have that program all completed. We started probably in about 2014. Where we have done pole hardening or line hardening, we didn't get hit with the storm damage, didn't do anything to us. And I say that with maybe one or two exceptions. We had one steel pole that was bent over, and we did have a concrete pole that was broken off right at the butt, which is amazing. It's really, really good, right at the ground for the last one. It looks like the storm will cost us about $6 million. So we are in the process we've been in the process of doing that. Some of that work was done at the end of last year. A lot of that work has been done this year. We are building a new line on our eastern service territory. It's a 5-mile line. Our own folks are building that line. And it's to try to shore up some of our folks on the eastern service territory. They're on a radial circuit, and if they go down, it's very hard to bring them back up. This will eventually create some redundancy to use to backfeed our Wallapai substation, which is right against I-40, all the way down to Wikia, because that's where the service is right now. And there'll be some upgrading of some lines. We got a new substation and transformer coming in to actually help bolster that up. We've just had a transformer change out at Willow Valley. Willow Valley is right along 95 at Fort Mojave. And that was, we increased that transformer capacity. It kind of showed itself, we had planned on it, but it showed itself as why we were doing it during that particular outage, because we couldn't pick up additional load out of that substation. But that capacity is go up about 70%. When you came in, there's a little spot at the beginning that we're hoping that you take a look at. we have a program that we're looking at to try to put in some fast start, very efficient natural gas. And you have to understand it's both of that, kind of in our load bubble. And I'll go from this standpoint. We've got 15.3 megawatts of solar that we own. It's right off of basically El Rodeo and Vanderslice, down in that area. It's east of developments, and it's out in the desert out there. What does it do for us? Well, one of the things that is good about solar when you buy it, it does lock in your price. So you're not exposed to the fuel cost vagaries. If we do have power generation suppliers or transmission supply interruptions, we do have some limited solar that's right inside our load bubble. And the idea is to diversify our renewable portfolio. So what are we also doing? We also have in process right now, it's supposed to be energized. It was supposed to be energized over the last 2 years. In fact, 2 years ago, this summer, it was supposed to be energized. It's 17.6, basically doubling the amount of solar, a battery as well. We've had a great deal of trouble with supply chain issues. Whatever has happened since COVID and the supply chain issues, that's what's going on. Everybody's suffering from that supply chain issue. It's supposed to be up, but it will be up. John Martell promises me it'll be up in the next couple of weeks, but I know he can't actually control it either. But he promises me about every 2 weeks that it'll be up in the next 2 weeks, but he has no control over that. It's the contractor itself. So that doubles our production from solar production. As you can see that in 2022 we were about 15% renewable. This doubles that solar production, so we're moving up from a renewable portfolio that if you look in the next few years, we should get well above 20% from a standpoint of our renewable portfolio. And renewable power is great, and so is solar, so is wind. It does fix in your price, but as you all know, it's not there 24/7. The wind doesn't blow. I know that we always complain when the wind blows here, but we never notice when there's a day or two that it doesn't blow. And you can say to me that it always blows, but when I pull into the parking lot at 8 o'clock in the morning or 7:30 and that flag is hanging still, I still need to find a way to produce power for you. And when solar gets to the end of its day at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, its production starts to drop. That's when you all get home, and between 5 and 9, that's when the peak is. I have to find a way to meet that load. It would be interesting, and I'm sure that well, maybe you would, but how many of you would, if I sent you a signal that said, by the way, at 5 o'clock, the solar is gone, would you shut off all your power? I don't see a lot of hands going. Probably not. So I still have to find a way in which to make sure that you have power. 2024, we have a 15 megawatt battery, a new substation going in. That 15 megawatt battery project is really intended to be able to use our renewables, or 15.3 megawatt renewables, so we can store it and use it at our peak time. Or if we can, and we need to, we can buy it off the market, actually use it in that battery as well. So we would buy it when the pricing is low, and then displace a higher priced product when it's at the peak. We also are involved in a 19.5 megawatt flexible generation project that's down in Apache, which is down in the southeast part of the state. And that will be natural gas, a fast start natural gas that's also much more efficient than what we have. And when I'm pointing out flexible, what I'm really trying to point out to you is it's dispatchable. That's the term I use. I'm an old timer in this business. For me, that's what it is. That's what we're talking about. It's all dispatchable generation. What does that mean? Is that when the cloud rolls over and the solar goes down, I need to roll up and dispatch something that can get to the load. And so, in any case, no matter where we're at in the foreseeable future, it's kind of all of the above power supply issues. Yes, we want solar, we like wind. We have gone out for a number of requests for proposals for wind, and we don't get a whole lot of responses from wind that is economical. We get it from New Mexico or Texas, and trying to get it home is not economical. And regardless of what you feel about the wind in Arizona, there aren't developers that feel like there's enough wind in Arizona to bid on these particular projects. So that flexible generation is pretty important. In 2024, we're also involved with all of the other co-ops trying to add more solar in a battery project. And then in 2025 to 2027, coming up here, we're trying to get 60 megawatts of flexible generation, fast, dispatchable, and much more efficient natural gas generation in our load bubble. And what does that mean? Well, what that means to us is that with the solar and the batteries and that dispatchable or the flexible generation in our load bubble, the example I'll give you is last year, the first 12 hours that we were dealing with the outage, a large amount of that outage was because we didn't have access to our power supply through the transmission system. The bulk transmission system was out. If we could have had this all up, we would have been able to at least bring up about 80 megawatts of our load, and that would be hospitals, emergency loads, hospitals, cooling centers, clinics, that type of thing that are really important to our membership. Would we be able to have covered the whole 250 megawatts of our peak? No. We're still able to bring up really the critical features. So that's really important to us to get that 60 megawatts of flexible generation. That's what we're asking you to sign when you come in. We're asking your support because we have to go to the Corporation Commission to ask them to allow us to borrow money to actually build it. And these projects have been in the way for quite some time. It's not as if we didn't just wake up and say, hey, we'd like to put in some generation. We've been buying land and doing permitting for some time to try to get these all ready. So that's really important to us. As we grow our renewable portfolio, as we keep growing it, you have to have something else that you can dispatch to back that up. It's vitally and critically important. This is what that call to action looks like. They're back in the table back there, somewhere back there. I don't know if someone's back there. Yeah, somebody's waving right back there. Right back there, if you don't have one, please consider it. It's pretty important to us, and what's also important is not just the fact that it's gas generation, but it's within our load bubble. It's really, really important. We pretty much then isolate ourselves to the extent that there's a major system outage. You can say, well, does that really happen? I have personally been through 2 or 3 in my career that have been major outages. It does really happen. And we'd be in a position to actually deal with it, but it also is there, and dispatchable to meet our regular load as well. So it's not just from an emergency standpoint. So we do request that support. It's going to be, it's October 11th. October 11th is when we're going to be going en masse to the Corporation Commission with these letters and every other letters that we have. We have some elected officials that are going to show up and request that they approve the financing. And if you are interested, I don't know where we're at with numbers. We're having a big bus that we're going to bring down there. If you are interested, you talk to Allison, which is there. She is right there, and we can see if we can get you on the bus if you want to go to the Corporation Commission and help us make sure that we're positioned and we have what we need to meet our needs and our loads here. I'm going to take a break here for me and get a drink, of water. I'm going to get a drink of water. And Jerry Hardy is going to go through our update on our fiber and construction program.
Is it working? Yeah. Hey, there it is. There it is. I don't got one of those fancy mics like Tyler does, so you guys have to bear with me with this. And hopefully I don't start singing karaoke or anything. let me check the stage, because a couple years ago, this thing, I took a nosedive on this thing. But we're going to go through some fiber construction updates. As you guys know, most of you guys know, we've been in a lot of areas in Bullhead City and also in the Fort Mojave. So we're just going to give you a brief update of where we've been, where we're at today, and where we're going. So go ahead and get started here. So currently right now we have 15,500 members that are able to take broadband service right now. How many of you guys know about this fiber optic project? It's a good amount of you, all right? How many people have taken the service so far? All right. We'll get the rest of you guys later. So if you haven't signed up already or not in our area, you can go ahead and pre-register. But some of the things that stands out with fiber optic and why it's a great service to have is one, symmetrical speeds. So what does symmetrical speeds mean? Well, symmetrical speeds is the same upload and download speeds. Why is that important? With a lot of the video calling that we have today, especially with teledoc, right? I know I've used teledoc before, and that's really important with the symmetrical speeds there. Next thing is throttling. The big one, I know I have to deal with it at times, or I had to deal with it at times when the kids were in the house, was when they use a lot of the data. All of a sudden, my my internet provider would all of a sudden throttle my service down where my speeds weren't as good. So that was obviously an issue. With TWN service, there's no throttling, symmetrical speeds. Okay. The other thing is there's no up to. There's no up to speed. So for me, I have one of the competitors. I pay for 400 megabits. I'm lucky if I do a speed test. I'm lucky to get right around 150 megabits, right? But I'm paying for 400. With TWN, you get what you pay for. What is that? Why is that important? Well, if you're paying for 400 right now, like myself, I can actually probably drop down once TWN is in my area. I could drop down to maybe 50 megabits and pay a lot less more and probably get the same service. So it just helps our pocketbook out. The map here, I'm with Tyler here, there we go. This map here is just kind of a quick overview. We'll dive in a little deeper on these slides, but it's basically the green area is all fiber ready, and the blue area is where we're going soon. All right, so the north area, we're going to start at the very north end of Bullhead City. Again, this green here is where we've already completed, we're already done, fiber ready. So we have areas like Sunridge, North Fork, Desert Foothills. When I say Desert Foothills, that's complete Desert Foothills. I know there's subdivisions within there, but off of Desert Foothills there, that's all complete. Laughlin Ranch, Pegasus Ranch, and Lake Mojave Highlands. The area that we have not started yet, which is Hillcrest Park, which is right there. It's a little 55 and older RV park. We have been working with the management team inside there. They've asked us to start in the first part of October, so that's what we're doing. October 1st, we'll be in there and start construction. The other part right here, right in the brown area, that's all just new construction, right next to the North Fork there. As that gets built out, we'll also build out with it too as well. All right, going south, still in the Bullhead City area. We call this the Silver Creek ODN, or Optical Distribution Network. Again, the green is all the areas that have been completed. The brown, these areas are just, there's nothing built out there. So obviously we haven't brought fiber to those areas. The area's completion, you can see Old Bullhead is already complete, so 1st Street to 7th Street. Desert Glen, which is off of Merrill Drive there. Buena Vista, Terra Grande, Laredo Village, and Fox Creek. Again, it's all of Fox Creek that is complete. I know there's different little different subdivisions outside of that, but all that whole area is complete. The one out of Fox Creek is Canyon Trails. That's a new subdivision that continues just to grow out. Again, we grow out with it too as well. So if you are in that area, I think we'll be darn complete. I think by the end of this month for all that new portion in there. And then this is just southwest of the Silver Creek ODN. This is what we call, still Bullhead City, but this is what we call the Big Bend ODN. areas of completion. You can see the subdivisions there: Colorado River Estates, Chaparral Terrace, Chaparral Bluffs, Playa del Rio, and Palo Verde Meadows, or Palo Verde Place and Shores. All of that Palo Verde Meadows area there. The ongoing construction is Fiesta RV Park. Again, we're working with the management team inside there and kind of going in and out as they want us to. Then we jump into Camp Mojave, or North Fort Mojave area. This is the Camp Mojave ODN. You can see the green, all the green that it has been complete. Matter of fact, as of I believe this week, this T2 hub area, and I'll explain the T2 hub here, but that T2 hub area right now is complete. So if you do live in that area, you expect some phone calls. If you have pre-registered, if you haven't, go ahead and pre-register. We'll get you signed up and get that, get some people out there to do a site survey. So what is a T2 hub area? So T2 hub area really is within an ODN or optical distribution network. The T2 hub areas are little networks themselves inside that larger area. And that's why they're different colors here. You can see the two different colors. So there's two different ODNs left in the North Fort Mojave area. We break it out again. There's their own little distribution network, and then they have their own deadlines too as well to meet. And we move down to South Fort Mojave area. Still the Camp Mojave ODN. It's just Camp Mojave. That whole Fort Mojave area is quite large, so we broke it out to the north and south there. Ongoing construction, you can see most of that, all of it is ongoing construction with Mojave Mesa, Terra del Rio, the Sun Valley Airport, Desert Lakes Estates, Fairway Estates, and Los Lagos, and a few others. So most of this, or all of this, we're right now, I believe it's January 5th of 2024, so not really far away, but all of this will be fiber ready. So anybody that's in that area, go ahead and pre-register. Again, once it's about 30 days out from being complete, TWN will be reaching out to you to set up the site surveys, get that complete, get the T1 dropped to your house complete, and get the necessary equipment on the side of your house, and then set up the installation inside your house. So future endeavors, where we're going next. So we sent out a poll a few weeks ago. We got some great results. We got even better results in the Golden Shores and Topok area. So that's where we're going currently right now. TWN right now is doing the low-level design. What does that mean? Well, they got to go through there. They got to go through all the streets, visually inspect all the poles, and look to see what equipment is needed and how they're going to do the design. From there, we're going to go ahead and order material, get all the material in, and then we'll start building out into the Golden Shores, Topok area. That is next. The other areas that we're looking at currently, and we do have that survey still on our website. So if you live in the areas that I have not mentioned so far, please go out and do that survey. It helps us determine where to go next. Just like anything else, just like any other business, we need to go where people want us to go. We're not going to build out where we're not getting any results and everything. So if you haven't already, please go to our website, do that survey, call TWN, get the SAA, do whatever needs to be done. But we are looking at the Bullhead City area. This is the Medlin ODN, we're calling it. You can see that right there, where Riverview Drive, Highway 95. So the Holiday Highlands, Holiday Shores, and the Riverbend area. We're getting results right now in there, pretty good results too as well, but keep telling your neighbors, keep telling your friends, family to fill out those surveys. The other area that we're looking at too, again, that we're still accepting surveys, is a SWAN ODN, or Optical Distribution Network. Again, we're looking at these surveys to determine which way or where we're going to go next. Then we have our Eastern Service Territory. So we really haven't done much out here. No surveys or anything just yet. But with the Eastern Service Territory, we have done a little bit of the backbone that goes into the Kingman area. Once we get a little bit closer to completing the western side that we just looked at there, we'll go ahead and jump on the eastern side, send out some survey results, and then build out wherever it suits fit. So if you have any questions after the meeting, TWN booth will still be open. I'll be around. whether it be in regards to signing up, SAAs, pre-registration, or even construction questions. All right. And there's the information, if you guys want to take a quick little snap picture of that, that's the information to call to pre-register, or like I said, you can go to the booth. If you have questions about the construction process that you maybe not think about tonight, go ahead and call that number too as well, and we'll go ahead and answer your questions. All right, that's it. Thank you, folks.
So those of you who are interested, and we do get a lot of interest on our Operation Cool Shade, which is we're providing a discount of trees. You plant them in the correct place that'll actually, when they grow, it'll shield the sun from your doors or windows, that type of thing. And that's underway. As you can see, the date 11/18/23. Bill, if you're out there, how many do we have left? 250. I'm so hard of hearing that can somebody 250 out of I think 2,100. All right, so we've already sold the majority of those. Out of the 2,100 that are in the pre-sale, there's only 250 left. If you're interested, you got to get a hold of the folks, and we will be distributing them coming up here. Assigned capital credits, there's a number of programs here. One of the things I want to touch upon is that if you're looking at your capital credits and you're paying attention to whether or not you get a credit on your bill or did you get a check. This last year, with the $6 million worth of cost to rebuild that system, and our margins were $400,000. So what we've done is we have used that $400,000 instead of borrowing to make that $6.1 million. So you won't see a capital credit check this year. It's hard for us to rationalize giving you $400,000 back when we have to then turn around and borrow it at the interest rates of today. You still get credit for it, meaning we still will owe you. So at some point when we retire that patronage capital, we'll still get that to you, but we didn't turn it over to you this year. So if you're looking, so Scotty, when you're looking for where's your patronage capital, none this year. So it's just the way that is, and we got to spend the money on building the system back. But we do use those assigned capital credits, which are when folks move and they don't cash their checks, they come back to us as the cooperative community, and we use them on education programs, the Washington Youth Tour. We have an MEC $5,000 scholarship. We have our safety shows, classroom grants, and there's a brand new program, and hopefully you were able to stop by, with Western Governors University. What is that? Well, that's a way for our members, and it's focused on our members, and it's focused on cooperatives primarily, although it's not, it's not exclusive to cooperatives, but there's a partnership there with WGU, and it's to allow people primarily who are already in the workforce be able to get 4-year degrees or master's degrees online. And if you compare the tuition costs, these tuition costs of WGU is very, very effective. Cost effective. I know that once we started the program, we had a couple of employees that were complaining to me that we wish it had started it 2 years earlier because they paid more on that. I apologize, but we can only start when you can start. But that is a testimony that it's good price. It's good. It is a good price. Not only that, but if you're a cooperative member, you can apply for scholarships and grants as well if you're a co-op member. So it's called the Western Governors University. So if you please pass that information around. This is a brand new program for Mojave Electric Cooperative or Mojave Electric Cooperative members. We have a partner here, and I know Mike is here. Wherever Mike is, we wave. There he is. We have a partner here, and Mike can tell you if I'm lying or not, I guess. But we were early starts with the River Fund. If those of you that may not know the history, but there was a time in which United Way was moving out of our area and they were moving to Vegas or the Phoenix. And people were worried about donating money to United Way, and does it get to Phoenix and get back to Mojave County? Does it get to Vegas and get back here? Well, there was a bunch of us that started a what's called a river fund. And I'm well aware of it because I was one of the early board members on the river fund. And what it really is all of that money stays local, and the people are local, and the people that work on it are local. And it goes into the tri-state area. So this last year, what was facilitated by Mojave Electric is you can see $73,000 that went to the river fund, and that is you all. I think it's pretty amazing, and it is the way in which we try to help the people that need help, because those are the people that go to Mike Conner at the river fund. What's not even in here either is that in the bullhead side, they're in our building, and I think we charge you $1 a year or something for the renting it. I think it's one of our buildings. You're in that particular building. We don't count that in here as well. From the heart and Operation Roundup, that's when you guys put something on your bill. You round it up or you add $1. I know I do both, the dollar and the roundup. And that money goes to the river fund. When we collect it, it goes to Mike at the river fund. CoBank, which is one of our partners here, Lando is doing a wave. CoBank is one of our partners, one of our lenders. And I'll have to also, give a wave out to Mr. Locksman. Where's Artie? Is he here somewhere? There's Artie. So Artie, when we started this program with CoBank, he makes sure that we are loaded and ready. So the moment they announce their program, we probably are the first ones to get the applications in, and that's all on Artie. And they basically match what we send. So up to $10,000. As you can see, we send 14,000, they match the 10. And energy assistance, that's a board policy and a board thing, so we send them $35,000 a year from that. A number of years ago, is anybody here like a plant from the state government or anybody? All right. What used to happen is we used to collect the deposits and that were supposed to be escheated to the state. So we collect all those deposits that you left, somebody left, and we round them up and we send them to Maricopa County and then hope that the money came back. That's the way it used to work. We don't do that. What we do now is we round them up and we work with the River Fund, and the River Fund basically administers the same program in accordance with the state requirements. So we know when that money goes to the River Fund, it stays here in the Tri-City area. We don't have to ask for it back from Maricopa County. And then there's the MEC donations. So it's $73,000 this last year. May not seem a lot, but since we started this program, it's over $1 million has gone over to the River Fund. And so that's how we try to make sure that we have the opportunity to give back to our community from an economic standpoint to help those who that actually can't help themselves. Now, there's always is a question, and it's a great question about where are your costs? Well, we do benchmarking, and when we do this benchmarking, it's called the key ratio trend analysis, in which we benchmark ourselves against co-ops in the state and all throughout the United States to see where we're at. And from a controllable expenses per consumer standpoint, we're in the lowest 1%. So your co-op is, meaning cost-wise, we're at the very bottom, meaning we're the most efficient from the standpoint of cost. You ought to be pretty happy with that. We're definitely not at the top. We're almost near the bottom. And we've been at that bottom a number of years. From the co-op statewide, we've been at the bottom for the last 22 years. Meaning we've been the most economically frugal. And from the standpoint of our EPCO power suppliers, we've been the same way from EPCO power supplier. So we do benchmark that to see where you're at, to make sure that we're not spending more money or we're not on the expensive side from the standpoint of our labor, our materials, everything else we do, and everybody works hard to make that happen. It's not by accident that we're at the lowest area. We work hard to make sure, and Jerry and the folks that work for Jerry, they work hard all the time to make sure they're always buying the most economical that we can buy and still meets the same quality. What is WACOG and Bullhead City Weatherization? It's kind of a neat program, and I will call out the ex-mayor, Mr. Brady, that we worked with at one time, Mayor Brady. We started this program a number of years ago. What it is to try to help people in need, people who meet the right economic, they own a house and they meet the right economics as far as they're in the low-income categories, rather than just give them money every year to try to help them with their bills. What we do is we partner with WACOG and we partner with Bullhead City, two different organizations. Outside of Bullhead City, we partner with the county, and that's what WACOG is the county. And we partner to try to leverage their money, the city money, the state money, and federal money that they have. And what we go in is we rebuild electrically to make it more efficient. That could be new refrigerators, could be new air conditioners. Oftentimes it's an air conditioner. It could be insulation, it could be window coverings, but could be just ceiling, actually. And we go through that, and we've been able to, in the last couple of years, as you see, leveraged Bullhead City and WACOG of $330,000 worth of investment in people's homes, and it's been $77,000 of Bullhead City, of MEC's money. And it's a program that we're pretty happy with and pretty proud of, because that makes a sustainable change for somebody who is low income, rather than just trying to give a handout. It makes a sustainable change that actually allows their fixed income to go further. Co-op connection card, that's also one we're pretty proud of. That hopefully you all know what that is. If you don't, grab one of us, any of the employees when we're done, and we'll try to point you that way. But what it is that we have our connective sister organizations that go out and they try to negotiate prescription prices for our members. And also the Co-op Connection program, also we have all kinds of local vendors that actually will provide you a discount. You just have to have your Co-op Connection card. A lot of you would call it the Mojave card. It's not the Mojave card, but it'll say Co-op Connections on it. And since 2011, our members have saved, you see that $2.5 million on prescription products. I think that's pretty incredible. These are the community sponsors events, kind of stuff that I'm really, really proud of to be a part of, especially with our employees. Not only do we actually, this is the list of places that community sponsor events that we all participate in. And remember, it's a total of 90 employees doing all of this. It's pretty amazing. And this is the listing of all of us, that all of our employees volunteer on their own. And this is on their dime and on their time. And there's a lot. And I really appreciate that. So I applaud you and I applaud all the employees. I think it's incredible. It's incredible, amazing. And then of course, if you want to see what I probably acted like and looked like when I was a kid, there's probably was me right there. We also can thank you for all the gift sponsors, whether it be TWN, a City of Bullhead City, the Arizona G&T Cooperatives, Hoo Quarry. We leverage his arm and he sends money, Grand Canyon, as well as EDP Renewables. That's the entity that's building the solar battery that we're hopefully in 2 weeks. John says that it'll be up and running in the next couple of weeks. And that's what I have, and thank you for attending. Does anybody have a kind of a general question? If you have any specific question, like what's on my bill or that type of thing, please grab me afterwards, especially if you have your bill, but any general questions?
Now's your chance.
Yeah, where? Yes, sir.
There was going to be some kind of control that they might come out for your thermostat, which could give you a break.
Yeah, can somebody relay that to me? Thermostat program?
Yes. Yeah,
said something
thermostat.
about a control, that they're supposed to put a control on your thermostat. Have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, if you're talking about, do we have rebates or do we give money for it? No, but when you replace, if you replace and go to a higher efficiency or need to replace a heat pump or an air conditioner, there's usually and I'm doing this right now because I have no air conditioning replaced, haven't had for the last 3 weeks. I'm sure you all go through that, trying to get contractors to your house. But in that bid also is a replacement for that thermostat, but we don't have a program and we don't intend to at this particular time to actually ask to control your thermostat. If that was the question. I can't really hear it that well, but no.
He said no.
My question is, where exactly does the $25 customer service fee on our bill go?
Where does the customer service charge go?
Yes. You need a phone.
Yeah, the customer service charge, what that represents is our fixed costs, the cost that we have that we borrowed money on to actually build the facilities, whether it be transmission, distribution, all of those particular costs. It's all of our fixed costs are rolled into that particular piece, which is the customer service charge, which pays off all of that debt and all of those fixed charges.
One of those electrical things that you guys sent out that we can read, they had a smart article in the back of one of them this year about a control for thermostat that would help. They would drop and lower it based on demand that the company would receive. And they said that there would be information coming out on it later on. So I was wondering if that was a saving money for your electric bill. I might still have the electrical bulletin that they put it in at home, but you guys did put it in there. I forgot the name of that electrical thing that you sent out.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm aware of what you're talking about. I'm not aware of us sending out something that said we want to control your thermostat.
No, it was a cost-saving message.
The what?
Cost-saving message.
Cost saving measures, yes.
More information on it.
Yes. Yeah, I guess maybe I'll try to help answer this question this way, is that to the extent that when we're asking you to avoid usage in the summertime between 5 and 9 p.m., what you're doing at that particular point is to the extent that there is less usage, that exposes us less in that peak time frame, and that peak time frame is when the most expensive energy is out there that we have to buy. So to the extent that which you can reduce load, like don't use your washer, dryer, or that stuff during that particular time frame, you help us avoid higher purchases, if that's what you're asking. I'm not sure if that's what you're asking, but that's what we send out about please help us from that standpoint. Yeah, the question is, anyone looked at using refuse trash to generate? I actually have some direct experience in this. Mojave Electric, about 8 to 10 years ago, tried to approach the Arizona Corporation Commission on designating trash to energy instead of burying it as renewable, or some method in which to make it make the economics be better, and it was bounced and rejected, and so it didn't pass in Arizona. We also had worked at one time about possibly working with the county on instead of burying everything in a landfill, maybe we could actually have a real, it's called a plasma gas furnace that would actually work in that manner, and then you have a real small chunk of carbon when it's all done, and you don't have so much trash. The economics didn't work out, basically from the standpoint of people have to you'd have to get a lot more shipping of trash into the area to actually make it worthwhile. So we've tried in a couple veins, it just has not worked out. But it's not as if we haven't thought about it or tried to approach it since I've been here, I guess, in the last 13 years. Did that answer your question? Anybody else? Anything else? If not, then thank you very much. And I think we got a little bit left, and then you can pick up those nice prizes if you let Joe finish up here.
Thank you very much, Tyler, for the information, and Jared for the information on our broadband. At this time, the formal part of our meeting is adjourned. I will entertain a motion to adjourn our formal part of the meeting. Got a motion, do I have a second? All in favor of adjourning the formal part, but don't leave yet. All in favor, say aye. Anyone not in favor, say no. Everybody wants to be. Actually, at this time is the fun part. We have our drawing for power credits and our gifts. We're going to have employees come up here and draw and deliver our gifts to our members.